Self-esteem will fuck you up. Oh, sorry about the bad language. I promise not to swear again. Contentious, I know. Inflammatory. True. But is it true? I mean, for such a long time, people have believed that self-esteem is good. And I'm here challenging you with maybe a different way of seeing this. There's two ways to look at self-value. One is self-esteem, and one is self-compassion. And we're going to compare the two today. So I've got a bit of a cheesy formula, but I'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about how our self-value can be linked to achievement, success, or dare I say it, perfectionism. And the cheesy formula is this: self-esteem is reality divided by expectation. You always get a decimal number. I know it's a cheesy formula, but think it through. Self-esteem does have a strong affective component, and it influences how we feel about ourselves. And there has been research that said in 1967, it was Cooper Smith, who said people with higher self-esteem are happier people, more assertive, independent, and creative. Sounds good to me, doesn't it? Everything seems to be really good. What's wrong with self-esteem? Maybe you shouldn't do this video, David. But then along came Baumeister and Leary, and they kind of blew up that theory. You know, that self-esteem, it really took a hold. Started off in California by the researchers I've already mentioned, ended up going through the school systems, and it spread like wildfire across California, the US, and then the whole world. And so parents, for generations, in fact, have been believing that if I provide self-esteem to my children, they're going to grow up to be amazing kids. But what Baumeister found was the opposite to be true. It can be seen as a panacea, but however, there are some really big issues. Baumeister did a meta-analysis, and what he found was a far more complex picture. Not only is self-esteem always beneficial, but it has a flip side, especially if it goes too high. The flip side of self-esteem is that it can be a roller coaster. You go from really high to really low, and that can happen in minutes. I'll give you an example. You think you've done really well in an exam, or you did something amazing at work and you got a promotion, and then, or someone just praised you. And then someone pulls the rug and says, actually, I did much better than you. Or, no, you didn't do so well. Or, actually, we're going to have to hold off on that promotion for a little while because we're a bit concerned about your performance. So this business of going from high to low is often instantaneous. It's very conditional. It depends on success, looks, popularity, wealth, and this can mean losing your self-worth, as it implies you become worthless. And that can be quite a haunting feeling. It can lead to alienation on what distinguishes us from others and is emphasized over what we share. And so we've got to be really careful in that space, you know. It's unstable. So 1 minute you're feeling high, another minute you're feeling low. The opinions of other people can rock your world. And it's really tiring. It can be exhausting. Trying to put up a front, you know what, that business of trying to be someone you're not all the time. So exhausting. And it can drain a person. And it can also slow down development and not enjoying life, become narcissistic, um, deceitful, or self-centered. And who loves a narcissist? Put your hands up. Self-compassion, on the other side, is very different. Why should we respect ourselves and each other? It's based on not what you do, not what you achieve. Makes me think of that film Fight Club, where it says you're not the car you drive, you're not the sofa you sit on, and you're not the coffee you drink. It's based on because of your existence, because you exist and you have agency and you can do. It's because we're complex beings. We're unique. There's nobody like you. You know the old cliche, if we needed two of anyone, then that would be a carbon copy. We don't need that. And we all have potential. We all have choices. And we can influence how we shape our experience of life. So what supports self-compassion? It's rather than judging ourselves, we can be kind to ourselves and show ourselves self-kindness. We can see that we actually have common humanity versus being isolated from others. And we can, rather than over-identify with an experience, with a title, with anything, we can experience the here and now and be mindful. So self-kindness versus self-judgment is treating yourself with care and understanding rather than harsh judgment. Desire to alleviate your own suffering. We have agency. And, actively soothing and comforting yourself. And you all know a lot about that, especially from a nervous system perspective. But I want to just look at, this business of being able to not give yourself harsh judgment. And I'm going to use a model called the ABCDE framework. It comes from CBT. Don't shoot me down, it's pretty good. Trust me. So if you think about an activating event, okay, what happened? What was the trigger? Was it external? Was it internal? Was it a thought? Was it a memory? It might be that someone said something to you or ignored you and it set you off. You know how family can say something and it will set you off, and if someone else says it, you're okay. So what's going on there? So think of a time in your life when something happened recently and you upset yourself. The next part is thinking about your beliefs and interpreting that event. So I'll give you an example. I went to my gym, and there's always stories in the gym. And there's a guy, a really nice guy, and said to me, "So what are you doing tonight?" I said, "Oh, just chilling at home with the good lady wife." And it was a Saturday night. He said, "Aren't you cooking?" I said, Yeah. He says, "Can you cook?" I said, "Yeah, a little bit." He said, "But are you a good cook?" And at that point, I was like, "Oh gosh, why so many questions?" I said, "Well, nobody's died in the last 20 years, so I'm an okay cook." But that thought stayed with me. Why did he think I'm not a good cook? What is it about me? Am I too skinny? What's going on? What were my beliefs? That maybe Indian men don't cook. I don't know. I started really sort of digging quite deep into that. And then you've got to think about what are the consequences. So what are the emotional and what are the behavioral consequences? What were the feelings? Was it feeling worthless, anxious, ashamed? I felt like, maybe I'm not a good cook. I need to really start upping my game, going for cooking lessons. What else am I not good at? Maybe people don't see me good at many things. And then my behaviors. Sometimes people avoid those people, or they confront them, or they kick the cat. They do all sorts of things. And I started going to ChatGPT looking for better recipes on how to be a better cook. It's true. I'm telling you the truth. But then there's the letter D for disputation. It's a word we don't get to use very often. But it's challenging those unhelpful beliefs with questions. So the first one is, what's the evidence that you're not a good cook, David? Well, people come over, friends come over for dinner. It's true, my kids do not want to eat any more dal and rice, but they like my keema, my chicken curry, my sabzi, my lamb curry, and some of my Italian dishes. What are the alternatives? What's another way of looking at it? Or maybe that guy, he doesn't like cooking, and he was projecting his stuff onto me. I didn't know what was going on with him. Maybe it was his way of asking me to invite him over for dinner. I don't know. I don't know what was going on with him. And then we go to usefulness. Is this belief helping or hindering me right now? Well, it's not really helping me, believing I'm not a good cook. I might not be an amazing cook, but it doesn't mean I'm not a good cook. In fact, yeah, maybe I can look at that differently. And maybe I'm an okay person, what, if I'm a bad cook, does that make me a not worthy person? I mean, how far do I want to take this? So then we look at letter E, effective new belief. What's a more balanced, rational, and helpful belief? That I'm an okay cook, but that's not a reflection on me. And that guy, I don't know what was going on with him. And maybe I should invite him over for dinner. People just want to be seen. They just want to be heard. They just want to be understood. So I'm going to recap on those, the A, B, C, D, E's. A is for the activating event. What was the thing that kicked this off? B is the belief. What were the beliefs that sit underneath it? C, what were the consequences? And usually consequences are emotional or the behavioral. They can be physiological too. I didn't feel any hairs on my back stand up or anything like that. I don't have any hairs on my back, but you know what I mean. Disputation. Can I look at this in a different way and challenge these unhealthy beliefs? What's the evidence for? What are alternative views? And how useful is this? And finally, what's an effective new belief? What's a new way of looking at this? So I want to keep going a little bit because it's important that we really think about this, because if you look at your own life, you'll see that self-esteem is everywhere. How you think, how you eat, how you drink, how you clothe yourself, who you hang out with, who you don't hang out with, what you do for a living, what you say you do for a living, what education, where you live, what postcode. It goes on, right? And we can over-identify and we can under-identify. And so, there's that question which a lot of, I suppose, sort of mystics ask, and they say, well, who are you? And I could say, well, my name's David. But who are you? Well, I was born in India, so I'm Indian. But who are you? I'm a psychotherapist and a lecturer. But who are you? I'm married and I live in Southwest London. But who are you? And we can, these kind of huge, what you call building blocks, we could even challenge those and say, well, actually you could change your name. You could change your gender. You don't have to be married to the same person. You don't have to be married at all. You can change your nationality. You can't change where you were born. True. You can change where you live. You can change your occupation. I do. If we can do those with these huge kind of constructs, why can't we do it with the smaller ones? And ask yourself, where am I over-identifying? And that very much links to perfectionism. Do I have to be perfect to be acceptable? Actually, maybe I'm okay just as I am. That doesn't mean I can't change and improve my life and my experiences, but maybe right now, in this moment, I'm okay. And this also then helps us avoid the kind of extremities of suppressing and avoidance. And we all know about that and how it can impact our bodies. Third part is common humanity versus isolation. So rather than seeing ourselves as this island that exists on its own and is isolating and abnormal, we can say, you know what? We're all part of this together. We're all connected. We all put our trousers on one leg after the other. We all experience hurt, pain, joy, freedom, suffering, loss, triumph, birth, and death. And in the words of my colleague Debbie, we're perfectly imperfect. And that's okay. So self-esteem, it can make you feel good. It can give you confidence. It's assertive, and or it gives you the ability to be assertive and creativity. And some of the upsides of self-compassion is it gives you peace of mind, self-regulation, well-being, belonging with others. But when you compare the two, self-esteem is like this. It's up and down, up and down, up and down, so unstable. Whereas self-compassion is even keel. And it means we value ourselves rather than our image. And it's compatible with as being a prerequisite for modesty. Since you don't need to spend your energy flexing and proving yourself. Self-esteem is often concerned with one's image. And as we've already described, can lead to narcissism, vanity, and conceit. When I was younger, I spent so much of my energy trying to impress people, thinking they would like me more. The irony was they liked me less. And now I can just be more of myself. And some people like me, some people don't. And I can be okay with both, including the guy at the gym. So I'll leave you with a little exercise. What words would you use to describe yourself? What value do you place on yourself and aspects of yourself? Were your descriptions generally positive, balanced, or negative? Remember, we can go back to the ABCDEs on that. And where did your messages come from? I hope you have a self-compassionate life. See ya.